So I was at a buddy's house last week. Slipped up there to have a couple drinks with an old friend because I'm feeling well enough these days I get to do things like that. And anyway, we're outside having a smoke and he looks over and says, "Hey, you want to make a hop over to Missouri with me to pick up a car here in a couple weeks?" I said, "Well, sure." Because I've known this guy almost 40 years. We've been friends since we were kids. And he could say about anything to me, and I'd say, yeah, and then figure out if I could do it, right? Anyway, we're out there having a smoke, having this conversation, and I'm thinking, oh, he's going to go pick up some cool old car or something, right? I asked him, what are we going after? And he said, well, it's my daughter's little Hyundai. He said the timing belt broke, and it trashed the engine, so I'm going to go pull it home and fix it for her so she can sell it and put the money towards her new car. Because she's a responsible kid, and I don't want her taking that hit. That's the kind of dad he is, you know, so yeah, I'll help him go do that. And then he nods over at the wife's little 2007 Sportage, and he says, have you changed the timing belt in that? And I said, well, no. He said, how many miles you got on it? I said, 120,000. He went, I said, what? I said, you better look into it. I said, we're going to trade it in this year. It'll be all right. That's all he said. That's enough, you know, because I've known the guy long enough. I know what that means. He says, I just told you the truth. Do what you want to with it. So, anyway, I drive home the next day with a pretty good hangover because a couple drinks turned into a couple more. And anyway, I'm driving home going, man, I don't know what I'm doing here. Because I'm an hour out of town and I'm driving this car with 120,000 miles on it and a questionable timing belt all of a sudden, and I'm like, whew. So I go home and I pull it all up, and that thing's supposed to be changed at 60,000 miles. And if you haven't changed it by 80,000, you're messing up. I didn't make any video about doing this because I didn't know what I was doing, and YouTube doesn't really need a video of me talking about how little I want to know how to work on a Kia. But anyway, if you wind up doing one of these, it's the same as a Hyundai Elantra, the 2007 Kia Sportage. It's a Hyundai engine in that thing. It's the 2.0 dual overhead cam. It's a real good engine, but at 60,000 you better change your timing belt, and you might as well do the water pump while you're there. And I just did all of that, and it was miserable. Miserable experience. But anyway, I got to get back to cutting wood, but let's have a look at where we're at on the little pickup. got the exhaust manifold just kind of sitting in place, hanging on a stud. It's just waiting for a tap to come in. I want to chase the threads on the holes where it bolts to the rest of the exhaust. I probably wouldn't bother if I wasn't planning to keep this. I could just run them in, but since I'm probably the next guy that's taking it apart, I'm going to be fixing it. It's kind of the nature of this whole deal. And just for fun, I thought we would stress test this VHT Wrinkle Plus paint on the exhaust. I know it's going to burn off, but let's see how it does, right? And I'm pretty much just going through here and cleaning and checking for problems. I pulled the exhaust or the throttle bracket off that holds the cable just because it was rusty and crusty, and I thought, well, I'm just going to pull it off. It's just 2 bolts, and give it a clean up, just cleaning up under the hood, you know, and looking for problems. That's pretty obviously not good, so I'll be fixing that. And it wouldn't matter that I fixed the EGR valve and cleaned it. You know, this end of it goes down to the exhaust manifold, and it has this electrically actuated diaphragm on here that opens and closes it, and it basically just opens a passageway that goes from the exhaust and right in through this hole into the intake manifold. And it wouldn't matter that that works if I hadn't noticed that the entry to get in there is blocked. The little hole that it would use, the passage to for that gas to come from the EGR valve into the manifold is blocked, so I'll be running a wire through that. That's pretty much where I'm at for today. Just clean and fix. This little 85 2.3 has a tube on the top of the oil cap that goes right into the throttle body, and I notice I'm getting a lot of back pressure out of this. I think I've just seen quite a lot of built up carbon and stuff that looked like it had come out of the crankcase in here. This thing was a bear to clean, and I got a habit after I clean things, I paint them, because it just kind of lets me know where I'm at on my vehicle that I plan to keep. I wouldn't do it on something that I was just moving through here. Not that that even happens anymore. So I need to look up the PCV valve, and on this 85 2.3, it's kind of in line on this hose right here. There's a lot of question about where these PCV valves are on these things, and they put them in some really weird places on these little 2.3s. But anyway, on the 85, it's right there. That little gray space between the 2 rubber hoses, and I've got to pull that out and clean it and make sure it rattles, which means it works, and that will verify that I'm not getting blowback past my piston rings coming out of that valve cover and into my system. Well, that other end doesn't want to come out very much, and I don't feel like fighting it because I've already verified that it rattles, so that means it works. And the hose looks pretty clean, so we're not looking at a lot of blockage there. I'll just have to monitor that situation with the crankcase gases coming out of that cap and figure out what's going on there. As good as it runs, I don't think there's going to be that much blow-by past the piston rings, but I guess we'll find out later after we get it back together. I don't really feel like doing a rebuild this week. Having a look at that broken vacuum line. That stuff's crunchy. No wonder it got a bit brittle and broke. May just have to replace this. Looks like there's been a little heat on this anyway, so I'll have to open that up and see what's going on. That green line goes back there into somewhere. I don't think it'd be a big deal because you just replace that though. It doesn't look like it was doing its job anyway. That particular line is cooked right into that cover. So just one more little thing to fix, right? We'll get that little pickup back together soon, right?